welcome to today's YouTube video. Today is going to be about how to improve at chess, and the main idea of today's video is having a training plan. Now, I should have made this video probably a while ago, to be honest, but we need a training plan to get better at chess. Now, it can be really simple. Like, when I was 1200, it would literally just be as simple as do Puzzle Rush at least once a day. Eventually I'd be like, okay, get at least 40 in Puzzle Rush per day. So it doesn't have to be super complicated, but I'm going to show you what you can also include in your training plans if you really want to be serious about improving at chess. So yeah, again, Puzzle Rush on chess.com, great resource. I do recommend that. Play chess, that's another big thing. Maybe in your training plan have a certain amount of time per day or per week that you have to play chess. That's a big one. Another big one is have chess literature to read. So set aside like an hour a day or a certain amount of hours per week that you read that book. It's probably to do it daily, like maybe half an hour to an hour per day. You just read some chess literature, go over it on a board if you have to. Yeah, it doesn't really have to be that complicated. But a big one that I actually recently come across and that I think is actually a really good idea is playing classical games. You can do this on chess.com. It's probably going to be a harder find to do that, since the longest time control I really see is 15 plus 10 on chess.com, but Lichess has a lot more classical chess players. They have like 60-minute chess with 0 increment, 30 with 15 increment. Lichess is good for classical chess, and it's a completely different rating level for that, since they do separate ratings into 4. It's bullet, blitz, rapid, and classical. They have 4 instead of 3, like chess.com. But yeah, I played a classical game on Lichess last night. I haven't annotated it yet, but I'm going to, I guess, annotate it now with my voice. It doesn't have to be super complex. It's going to be kind of fast, since I don't want to dedicate the entire video to recapping this game. But yeah, 60 minutes each side, 0 increments, and yeah, this is a great game. I am proud of my calculation here. Yeah, we went to Sicilian, and he played f4, and I played just normal stuff, and I'm playing accelerated dragon setup against, I'd say this is more like a Grand Prix. It's kind of hard to say though, since this knight hasn't developed. But yeah, after bishop c4, I'm already equal, so I can just play very normally here, and I don't really have to worry about anything here, because if I really need to, I can always just play e6. Now, my opponent plays c3, so he's kind of wanting to go into an Alapin kind of thing. He wants to really get the center here. d6 is good, I thought of that, but the most ambitious move here, in my opinion, would just stop everything, so I played e5. Now, it calls a mistake, but it's kind of hard to prove it, to be honest, because this is kind of like a Botvinnik setup. I'm going to play knight to e7, d6, and just play a normal game of chess. So yeah, my opponent plays knight g5, trying to exploit the fact that I pushed this twice. So he's trying to put pressure on my f-pawn. Makes sense, but I can just go knight to h6. It calls it a miss, but I don't really care. This is the most principled move in my opinion. I don't really know what this does, because it allows a fork. But anyways, my opponent now plays d3, which makes sense. He's opening up the bishop to defend the knight, and I simply, I play d6, just protecting this pawn, supporting the pawn, opening up my bishop, that kind of thing. I think is very logical and normal in the Botvinnik setup. Yeah, opponent plays queen to b3, and I simply castle, adding another defender to the f7 pawn, and my opponent plays bishop d5, which makes sense. But I actually kind of just hunkered down here and calculated for 5-ish minutes, I would say, and I'm like, okay, I can take on f4. That undefends the knight, since the bishop has to recapture to defend that knight, and it also opens up the e5 square for my knight. So this is what I calculated. I calculated e takes, bishop takes, knight to e5. If takes, I'm not really ever scared of that, because I just go rook b8 and pin to the queen, and that's obviously winning for me. So takes, takes, takes. If bishop takes, I calculated queen takes g5, bishop takes g7, queen check. If he goes king to f1, I thought he was getting checkmated with some combination of knight g4 or queen d3 check first. And if king to d1, then I just take the pawn in front. And if knight blocks, again, I go knight g4, and I'm preparing a really nasty check on the e3 square. Don't worry, if you didn't visualize that, we're about to see it on the board. Takes, takes, knight to e5, bishop takes, queen takes, and my opponent actually chose bishop back to g3, which makes sense, but I'm already completely winning here because of king safety, the most important thing in chess. So queen to e3 check, and I take another pawn, preparing knight to g4. And the reason why this prepares that is because now the e3 square is open for my knight. So I don't really have to worry about anything after rook to d8. Another thing that knight to g4 prepared is very, very strong for me. Bishop h6, bringing yet another piece into the attack. So now I have 3 pieces, and he actually only has 1 defender currently, although the knight could be said to be defending. Knight d2, only logical move, and here I play knight to e3. This is just the most concrete move. I don't really particularly know what queen to e2 does besides like attack a pawn. But yeah, my opponent chooses an all right line here, but it does lose a piece with some quick calculation. So here I just calculated queen takes, knight takes, takes. Now if queen takes, pawn takes, sorry. If queen takes, knight takes, then I have knight takes, d5 check, discovery, and I'm just winning a full piece. If takes, pawn takes, then I just take the exchange, and I'm completely fine. I'm up material. I don't have to worry because I'm already up a pawn anyways. So yeah, I just take, 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 and take, and I play a rook to d8, defending my only weakness at the moment. Of course, I have to do some untangling here with my bishop and rook. I just play like a6, rook b8, and kind of try to untangle here, but it shouldn't be that big of a task. Yeah, here it just wants you to like develop your bishop and then play rook d7, but I played it this order because I wanted to defend this pawn, but rook d7 would have defended the pawn anyways. a6, rook b8, and I'm trying to really open up my rook here. And here I actually make a mistake by taking. I didn't really consider bishop takes. I thought I would do knight takes, but yeah, bishop takes is my rook. I do the only logical move it back. Here I pinned the bishop, and I'm gonna kind of just go through the rest of the game pretty quickly since I'm up a piece, nothing too much to consider here. Yeah, this is actually a really good move because after here, trying to deflect my rook, if he takes, I just reclaim the pawn. And yeah, here he had some good idea, but yeah, I just defend. Knight here, I can just play bishop c6, since notice how I already won a piece on this square and he just didn't take back. So 2 pieces for the rook is usually better. Takes, I actually made a mistake here by taking with the bishop, I think, because of bishop e6. Yeah, this is just a mistake, but I can still win with bishop to g7. But my opponent didn't play that. He played bishop to e7, which is just a mistake. I play rook to e8, and yeah, I kind of just trade everything here. He blunders a knight. I don't know what this was. And I'm just going to kind of go to the instruction part of the game. I trade everything, and then now I'm going to start putting the king in a mating net rather than going for pawns. And it's actually a very simple mating net since the king is already on the edge of the board. Rook to e4 is the killer move because this essentially forces checkmate. King is in a massive box here, only has 2 squares to go to, and they both get mated pretty easily. So yeah, opponent chose h4. I I played king to g7. Pawn played c5, and I have like literally any mate I want. There's so many checkmates here. So yeah, I chose h6 checkmate. So yeah, that kind of thing. Just go through your game by yourself. You don't have to like type in annotations. You can kind of just try at least to talk to yourself. Don't just be like, oh, I played that move because of this. Like actually try and justify your moves with words. So act like you're explaining it to someone else, even if you're just talking to yourself. But the best way to do it would probably be to actually annotate it by typing it in, writing it down, something along that form, so you can really try and process what is happening in the game, and it'll help you learn faster because you're going to have a more logical way of thinking during your chess games. Yeah, this was just a very quick example. Of course, it was a very slow game, which is good. You should always play slow games, especially as a beginner. It really helps you start thinking logically in terms of chess. Yeah, come up with a training plan if you really want to succeed at chess. Play slow chess games, that's another big one. And yeah, puzzles is also another big thing, in my opinion. Yeah, that does it for today's YouTube video. Don't forget to leave a comment down below, like and subscribe. And as always, I will see you in tomorrow's video.